We always start the bad before the good and go over the sits before the starts. The first quarterback I'm going to tell you to sit in week 1 may come to a shock, but I'm going to say Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is at home playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers' defense is a stout defense and had the most sacks in the NFL last season. Even though I believe the Bengals' offensive line is the most improved in the offseason, it will take some time to gel together and become a cohesive unit. The Steelers allowed the least rushing yards per game last season, so Joe Mixon should be getting plenty of reps. In this game, they simply won't need Burrow to sling the ball down the field, and it will be a disappointing fantasy quarterback in week 1. The next quarterback we're going to talk about is Drew Lock. This quarterback is set to play at home against his former team, the Denver Broncos, in a matchup everybody's going to be waiting to see. It's in prime time on Monday night and should be a joy to watch. The joy, however, won't be for Drew Lock as he faces a Denver Broncos team that ranked 8th best against the pass and couldn't wait to ship him out of town. There isn't too much to say about Drew Lock, except if you're debating whether or not you should start Lock, your fantasy season is probably already over. Now, the next quarterback I'm going to tell you to sit is Tua Tagovailoa. There is so much hype surrounding Tua in this offseason as he already had Jalen Waddle and then he added a stud in Tyreek Hill. Tua will be playing at home against a division rival, the New England Patriots. The Patriots allowed the second least passing yards per game last season, and even without Stephon Gilmore in the picture, should be a stout on the back end of the defense. Tua will be under immense pressure to perform well, and Belichick has had the entire offseason to think about a good game plan to contain Waddle and Hill. Look for Tua to have a rough start to the 2022 campaign, and you should look to sit him in week 1. Now we are going to go on to the good and talk about the starts. The first quarterback we have to talk about is Russell Wilson. What kind of fairy tale is this? Wilson gets to go back to Seattle to play his former team, the Seattle Seahawks, in a game that he should show out. This is not a game where you want anything to do with the Broncos running backs, because the Broncos are going to allow Wilson to do whatever he wants to his former team to make a point that this was not the reason why the Seahawks were struggling. The Seahawks gave up the second most passing yards in 2021, and I believe it can only get worse in 2022, especially when you see that Bobby Wagner was cut. Russell Wilson may take all the Seahawks lunch money in primetime on Monday Night Football against the Seahawks in week 1. Now we're going to go on to the next quarterback in week 1 with Lamar Jackson. Jackson will be playing away at the New York Jets. The Jets gave up the 3rd most passing yards and the 4th most rushing yards in 2021. This looks like a prime situation for an electric dual threat quarterback like Lamar Jackson. The Jets landed a very promising cornerback in Ahmad Sauce Gardner, which should immediately help out that porous defense. I don't believe, though, it's going to be enough to contain Lamar Jackson and his ability to get out of the pocket and make some serious noise in week 1. Look for Lamar Jackson to be set it and forget it type of quarterback in week 1. Our next quarterback in the week 1 is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan will be playing away at the Houston Texans, who gave up the 10th most passing yards per game in 2021. The Texans added Derek Stingley Jr. in the draft, but that's really about all the notable additions that the Texans even had. Matt Ryan will want to get off to a hot start with his new team in 2022, and the Houston Texans is just what the doctor ordered. They should be able to score early and often against the Texans. Look for Matt Ryan to be at the top for fantasy production at the quarterback position in week 1. Now let's look at our Bengal Tiger Start of the Week. Our Bengal Tiger Start of the Week will be Jalen Hurts. Hurts will be playing away at the Detroit Lions, who had the second to last total defense in 2021. The Lions gave up the 29th most total yards per game at 379.8 yards and the 28th most rushing yards per game at 135.1. The Lions did add rookie Aiden Hutchinson, but in his first NFL game, I don't see him making much of an impact that would make a difference to hurt Hurts. Other than Hutchinson, there were no splash signings on the defensive side, to make me think that they are much improved from 2021. Jalen Hurts should have a field day against this defense, both passing and rushing the football. Lock in Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback in Week 1 and do as they say in New York, forget about it.